In this video, I'm going to talk you through the key differences of the Brooks Glycerin 21 and the Glycerin Max. I'm James, a foot and ankle specialist, and I've been providing advice on footwear for over 10 years. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what it feels underfoot, and that's partly determined by the cushioning. So you've got the DNA Loft V3 nitrogen-infused cushioning in the Glycerin 21, and then you've got the brand new DNA-tuned nitrogen-infused cushioning in the Glycerin Max. Now, Brooks feel like this is going to revolutionize the running industry as you're able to provide a max cushion shoe with a much lighter weight underfoot. So to put that in the context, there's 45 millimeters of cushion in the rear foot, 39 in the forefoot, giving you a 6 mil difference, and it comes in around 297 grams for a size 9 men's US. Then in the Glycerin 21, you've got 38 mils in the rear foot, 28 in the forefoot, giving you a 10 mil drop. And then in terms of weight, it comes in at 277 grams. So you've got a lot more stack, a lot more cushioning underfoot in the Glycerin Max, and it only comes in 20 grams roughly heavier than what you get in the Glycerin 21. Now they feel completely different underfoot as well. So we'd say the Glycerin 21 feels a bit more like the Ghost 16. So the new V3 nitrogen infused cushioning is a lot softer, a bit more plush than what you historically got in the Glycerin 20 or the Ghost 15. So you do sink into it a little bit more. These models of the Ghost were renowned for having a bit of a firmer cushioning, slightly different than what you get in its counterparts in the Asics Cumulus and Nimbus. However, in the latest model, you do sink into it a little bit more, so it's a bit more balanced cushioning. So it feels a bit softer, not necessarily cloud-like, but a bit softer than what you were getting before. It has a little bit more energy return, I'd say. So when you sink into it, it springs you back a little bit. Then in the Glycerin Max, for a max cushion shoe, it's got really good energy return. So it's super comfortable, really feels like you're walking or running on a cloud, but it does help push you back. Now it is assisted by the aggressive geometry of the shoe, so you can see it's got an aggressive heel bevel on the back, more so than what you get on the Glycerin, and then it's got a very aggressive late forefoot rocker. So you can see how it's nice and flat through the midfoot here, and then suddenly it just tilts sharply upward, and that really helps with the propulsion phase of the gait cycle. So when you transition from mid stance to propulsion, you can really feel it rock you forward. It's also excellent secondarily for conditions like bunions or Morton Jerome and metatarsalgia, because it really offloads that forefoot by having such an aggressive forefoot rocker without having much toe spring. And toe spring is where it just holds your toes in slight extension when you're standing or in your neutral position. It's really good for trying to accelerate the propulsion phase of the gait cycle, but if it's too high, it can make it uncomfortable under the ball of the foot. Whereas in the Glycerin 21, you have less of an aggressive heel bevel at the back, and then yes, you have a forefoot rocker, but nowhere near as aggressive as what you get in the Glycerin Max. As we move on top, they both have an engineered mesh, so we have a bit more of a plush-like, sock-like feel on the Glycerin 21, a bit more of an engineered mesh that still feels like a sock-like fit on the Glycerin Max. It's got nice padded tongues on both that are non-gusseted. You've got less padding around the heel counter than you do on the 21, and you've got a moderately stiff heel counter on the 21, and then you've got a bit more flexibility in the heel counter on the Glycerin Max. Heel counters are important in terms of providing stability on the top of the shoe, helps cradle your ankle and reduce the amount of motion from side to side. You've got elements of stability in both shoes, even though they're a classic neutral shoe. So you've got some sidewalls on the midfoot of the 21 on the outside and on the inside of the shoe to help control pronation forces. We've got much bigger sidewalls, you can see here on the Glycerin Max on the outside and on the inside of the shoe. That's really important because we know if you increase the stack height of a shoe, i.e. increase the amount of cushion in the shoe, inherently makes it a little bit more unstable, challenges your peroneals and your posterior tibial tendon a little bit more. So by having big sidewalls and not sinking too much into the shoe, it really helps. In addition to that, it's got a nice broad forefoot so it doesn't narrow too much. Whereas in the 21, and you can see wide forefoot and then narrows in the midfoot. It doesn't need to be as stable or have as broad of a forefoot as the Max because it doesn't have as much cushioning and it's not as soft underfoot. In terms of their uses, the Glycerin Max is an excellent walking and standing shoe all day. The Glycerin 21 has been renowned for that in terms of the Brooks models. In terms of running, this Glycerin Max is very much a cruiser shoe, so you use it for recovery days, you'd use it for easy runs. If you're like a max cushion shoe for longer distances, it can do that for you. Certainly not for up-tempo work, a little bit too heavy for that. The Glycerin 21 is more of an all-rounder. It's a workhorse of a shoe. You can use it for daily runs, long runs, recovery runs. You could even use it for a bit more up-tempo work. It doesn't have as much energy return as something like the Brooks Hyperion, but it does give you some bounce back, some responsiveness to it. So they're two slightly different shoes. One's a max cushion shoe that's trying to revolutionize the industry by making it a bit more lightweight and a bit more energy return. The Glycerin 21 returns with a little bit more balanced cushioning as opposed to the firmer cushioning, and it's still an excellent overall day-to-day shoe. If you've got any questions on either shoe, please leave them in the comment section below. I've got links to the shoes in the description. If you purchase via the links, it helps fund the channel without affecting the price that you pay. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and appreciate if you like, share and subscribe the video, as it really helps the channel.